At WHBR WVUP, we love shining a spotlight on local churches and ministries, like the one you're about to watch. If you enjoy their program, please let them know. Visit Abundant Living Faith Ministries' website at alfmonline.org. Share their messages, posts, and events to encourage those around you. Your support makes a real difference to the churches we broadcast and to our station. Thank you for sharing, and enjoy the program.
You know you're not what they say you are, but your head in the bucket and you all distressed out and got to have Prozac and Xanax and all the other stuff because you believe in like what they said and you know that they're a liar. Everything about them, all your life you've known them, they did nothing but lie. So why would you believe what they say? Here God is for you, and then he tells you that you are more than a conqueror, but you don't believe him, but you believe the lie that you're a girl. Romans 3:3-4 says, let God be true, but every man a liar. What God said is truth. What man's saying is lie, unless he's saying what God has said. Now, what do you have for me? Ephesians 4 chapter, is that correct? All right. I think we're going to look at verse 18. Let me get my Bible. Where's my Bible? Oh, over there. That's why I don't rely on that electronic stuff. Ephesians, the 4th chapter. We're going to look at verse 18. I'll start at 17. This I say, therefore, and testify in the Lord, that you should no longer walk as the rest of the Gentiles walk in the futility of their minds. Is that correct? Okay. And when it's talking about Gentiles, referring to sinners. Sinners can't think straight. They can't. They can't. In order to think straight, you have to know the truth. And they don't know the truth because they're not Spirit-filled. Get 1 Corinthians, 2nd chapter. I'm going to have you to read it because I'm going to stay where I am. 1 Corinthians. You got 1 Corinthians? 2nd chapter? 14. Read it, please. Ready? Read.
But the natural man does not receive.
The natural man was talking about the non-Christian, the non-believer, the sinner. The natural man, the sinner, the non-believer, continue,
Does not receive the things of
does not receive the things of
the Spirit of God.
the Spirit of God. They are foolishness to him because they're spiritually discerned. He can't know them. Is that correct? Huh? Okay, read it one more time, please.
But the natural man does not receive the things of the Spirit of God.
Natural man cannot receive the things of the Spirit of God
But they are foolishness.
because they are foolishness to him.
Nor can he know.
Nor can he what? Know them. So that's why I said you can't think straight. Unless, see, according to God, unless you are what? Born again and Spirit-filled. Now, you may think you're thinking straight, but what you got to do is you got to look at the decisions that people make. And that'll let you know. Now let's go back to Ephesians. And so when it says about the futility of the minds, 17 again, 4:17, this I say therefore, and testify in the Lord, that you should no longer walk as the rest of the Gentiles walk, or sinners, in the futility of their mind, having their understanding darkened. That's what I was telling you.
Yes.
Being alienated from the life of God because of the what? Ignorance. Mm-hmm. And the life of God is prosperity. Get me John 10:10, get me 3 John 2. That's the life that God has carved out for his children. When my daughter came in, we were sitting down talking, and my wife was in the kitchen cooking. And so she has this 2-burner hot plate, and so she was cooking some rice on it. She had something on the stove that she was cooking rice on, and she was asking, she said, was something, my daughter asked me something wrong with the stove. And so I said, no. I said, nothing wrong with the stove. And so she said, why she? I said, because I'm not making no LP gas company rich. I said, I'd rather give y'all the money than give it to them, because y'all are my heirs. They are not. Because of the ignorance that's in them, they're not living the life of God. Because I told my wife, I said, because at the end of the day, if it goes up to $10 a gallon, you're still going what? You're still going to buy it. But my point is managing. See, the definition of husband is managing, a manager of resources. However I manage my house, I'm going to manage the house of God the same way. And I'm going to suck every juice out of every eagle in my house so I can be the same thing in God's house. Okay? Because we're not in the business of making people outside of the kingdom rich. See, that's why it's imperative for people of God to prosper, and in some cases they will be employers, employing other people and so forth and on, so that the money that comes into the kingdom gets to do what? Stay in the kingdom for a minute and not come in the kingdom and go right out. Okay? Get me Luke, the 4th chapter, verse 6. As I said before, because people have, questions about, have their own opinion about ministry and the whole deal. And not that it's wrong, but I know what the scripture says about ministry. Our job, pastors, is to, quote unquote, make millionaires and not be landlords. Church hasn't been owning houses and apartments and businesses. That's the people's responsibility. We're supposed to be, quote unquote, kingmakers, to make you kings and not the ministry. Anything that a ministry does other than ministry is subject to taxation. Because that's all we're supposed to be doing. Is that. We're supposed to teach the people to be landlords. Okay, that ain't going over. Let's go on. You can throw that out when you get home. Luke 4th chapter, verse 6. You have it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And who said? And who said? And who said? The devil said to him, and the him is Jesus because it has uppercase designation, so you know it's referring to deity. All this authority I will give you and their glory, for this has been delivered to me, and I can give it to whomever I what? Now, what was he talking about? Verse 5. Then the devil taking him on a high mountain showed him all the kingdoms of the world in a moment of what? Time. right? So you get 2 bonus points. The first is Adam turned it over to Satan, and Satan can give it whomever he wishes. Okay. April, you have the NFL draft. And these kids sign contracts for hundreds of millions of dollars. They don't know how to spell Jesus. So who do you think God is giving them that money? Okay. There's this thing that's been around for years now. The NFL means not for long. Okay. So they go and they get the contracts, and then within a few years, they're out of the league and they don't have no money. Why? Because there's something that's very unique about Satan. He gives and he takes. See, he recycles money. He give it to them this year, and then about 3 years later, he take it back and give it to the next draft class. He said, I'm giving whomever I choose. Okay, and so those that serve him, he will bless them. Okay, you got these rappers, they got all kind of foolishness, they talk about ungodly stuff, all kind of wicked stuff going on with them. Okay, they got, and we know a particular case. This rapper, he built the house, he bought it. He built that house. He built that house. At least 10,000 square feet. You know, if I call it name, you know the rapper. You think God gave him the money to build a 10,000 square foot house? And I think the property tax is like $30-some thousand a year. Do you think for one moment that you got God folk around here living in apartments because these people just, running prices, running rent up, running the price of houses up, just like they want to run them, and he would do that for one of Satan's children? No. Satan can bless. And then you can. Proverbs 14:23. And you can. Now, like I told you, I was giving credit. I gave God credit for everything, but a lot of stuff, with Satan, because I'm serving him. Can I tell another day? When I was with, I never forgot when I was with GE, I was working one night, and because we used to have some people that work at night, and I put my foot on the desk because you talking about cuss? Boy, Lord Jesus, I used to cuss. I'm talking about I know how to hook that thing. Man, everything came out of my mouth of cussing. I had forgotten the English language. It was like I was a second language major, and the second language was cussing. And one night I'm in the office and I put my foot on the desk for something. And I heard myself. I made myself sick because I heard myself for the first time. Because you hear yourself, but you don't really hear yourself. Because I knew I was cussing, because I was cussing, cussing, ain't nothing about it. And that's why I didn't think about it. But it's like people with sin about selective, but that I never cuss around my parents. Nor my children. Because I could walk my oldest son in this building right now, and you ask him if he ever hears daddy cussing, he'll tell you no. Because he told me that. He told me one time. He said, Daddy, I never heard you cussing. Okay. Not around with children, not my parents. But everybody else, it was free, it was fair game. Fair game. And I hurt myself, and I made myself sick. I said, I can't get, my God, what is wrong with me? Well, that's the devil. Because no sane person would be letting that stuff come out their mouth like they do. Children of God and children of who? Of the devil. And the devil bless and you bless. Now, you got Proverbs. I gave you enough time to get over there. You got Proverbs what? You got 14:23?
Yes, sir.
All right. They says there's profit in labor. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay, there's profit in labor. Right? So that means you ought to do what? You ought to work. So I believed everybody ought to work. Nobody, if anybody gonna stay home, it's gonna be me. Everybody go to work. There's profit in labor. So everybody ought to work so they can get the profit that's in labor. Just like 1 Timothy 4:8 says, there's profit in, there's little profit in exercise. Everybody ought to be exercising. And not just your elbows. Big Mac, waffle. Not your elbow. You ought to exercise. Because there's profit in it, little, but nonetheless get the little profit what is in it. There's all profit in labor. You ought to be working. Nobody's going to give you anything. And you're really not going to take anything from anybody. You may think you can, or you may think you will, but you're not. You're not going to take anything that doesn't belong to you, you're not going to have it. Now, we live in a society today that people think that they can take your stuff and they're going to have it, because to some degree people are promised that. But we're going to take from the rich and give to the poor. That's not going to ever happen. Do you think that the rich got rich being stupid? There's one thing the rich people do. When they get rich, they insulate their riches. That's one of the reasons why they have kids. It's not in the name, it's in legacy. Because they're gonna keep it in the family and keep it going down the road. That's why there's two things. They insulate, that's why they have real estate. And they don't be around here selling it off. It's about legacy. It's not about what? A name. See, these are things the people of God need to hear, and they need to teach their kids. First time kids get two feet of property, they won't sell it. What you got?
14:23.
All right, go to Proverbs 23:4. Hey, can't you do no property? Yes, you can. You can make sure you always have a place to stay. See, what I've always said, our house, everybody gonna be able to sell that house. I'll make sure the house will never be sold. That way, our kids at least can pitch tents on them and they got somewhere to place to stay. Being homeless, no, they ain't gonna never be homeless. No. Fathers, bring your children up in instruction and admonition of the Lord. Is that correct? No, it's father's responsibility to teach his kids how to be good stewards of resources. When this country got cranked up and they started divvying up and doing and exercising power, it was the landowners. It was the landowners. That's who had say. Okay? When you have these commission meetings and they want to do various and sundry things, the only people that count are what? The people who are what? On the tax roll. Just paying taxes. You putting in, so then you got some say because you're putting in. You're not putting in, you ain't got no say. You ain't got no say. You do not have a say. You have neither. What you got?
Proverbs 23.
All right. It says, don't overwork to be what? See, you can bless yourself. Yeah, you're not going to be rich working, because working in and of itself don't get you rich. But nonetheless, people are overworking to be rich, to have stuff. All you need is money to get stuff. Okay? Don't let nobody lie to you that you need faith to get stuff. You need money to get stuff. Okay? If you bought a car ever in your life, when you got ready to sign the documents, the whole deal, you can sign all the documents and stuff and then say faith, and the people gave you the keys. So someone will tell you, I got faith too, but where's the money? That's all you need is money. Daring. Okay, the biggest thief on the planet. Schemer and anything else to get money. You can be all of that and get it and have stuff. Okay, you need money, you get a down payment. You get, as an example, you get a car. You just got to have the money to get a down payment. Right? And you don't have to keep it, you can get it. See, the prosperity is to get it, and if you got a payment, it's a $200 payment, and then, you got no payment versus having it and got to pay $2,000 a month. And you only make $3,000 a month. Because Christians think that prosperity is in having things. If you ever stop and ask a rich person, how did you get rich? They're going to tell you two things. I worked and I gave. Why do you think all these foundations? Every foundation, everybody that cranks of a foundation, they are blessed by the foundation and because of the foundation. Ephesians 6:8. You're not going to keep it all in half. That's just not going to happen. That's against the creative law of God. The creative law of God says, sow and you'll reap. He didn't say reap and you're going to have. Reap and you're going to reap. It said, no, you got to sow and you're going to reap. You know, people talk about Bill Gates, and Bill Gates got some, crazy stuff going on. But the bottom line, the reason why I got that money, because of their foundation. Not because of Microsoft, because of the foundation. Microsoft provided the seed for the foundation, and the foundation is the one that brings in the cash. You got Ephesians 6:8?
Yes, sir.
It says, he'll reward a man for the good that he does, be he bond or what? Saint or sinner. So the unfortunate thing about it is far too many sinners cashing in on God's decreed will for his children. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Give me 3 John 2. John 10:10. God wants you to prosper. He wants you to prosper more than anything. He wants you to prosper more than going to heaven, because everybody not going to heaven, that's a child of God. If heaven was the end game, then every believer has to go to heaven for God not to be partial. I'll write down 1 Thessalonians 4, chapter 4. If heaven was the end game, then every believer has to go to heaven. Otherwise, God is partial. He will be partial to the ones that go and impart and not right by the ones who didn't go. What do you have for me? You got 3 John 2? In John 10:10, 3 John 2, the Lord says, I wish above all things that you would prosper, be in good health, even as your soul prospers. Is that correct? He didn't say, I wish that you get healed. He said, I wish that you have what? Good health. Correct? Okay, but see, you can't have good health if you don't eat well. So you got to be able to eat well. And to eat well, you got to be able to do what? You got to be able to have money. My daughter was telling me it was the egg down there was $9 something, what you call it, a dozen. I told her, I said $11.23 up here.
Man, that's like it.
And we're up here with the farming stuff going on, so they ought to be cheaper up here.
Right.
That's the big metropolis city down there.
Right.
They got to bring that stuff in. Now, those eggs that are that price are the eggs that come, that come from out, around and about. That's the free range or the range free or whatever the egg, kind of deal. They're doing their own natural thing. Okay, the eggs they got bringing up in the places inside and doing whatever they do to these eggs, you don't need to be eating those eggs. Same thing with the beef. You got a decision. You can get the beef that they inject the beef, inject them with whatever they inject them with, hormones, and then the chickens, they look like turkeys, and the whole deal, or you can eat the chickens. I ate some wings yesterday, and man, I ate like 4 of them, and I think it was only equate to 1. My daughter, what you eat? You got to have the money to eat well, so you can have good health. But he wants you to have good health. See, the church believes that the end game with God is about healing. No, it's about divine health. He said, I wish above all that you would prosper, be in good health, even as your soul prosper. John 10:10 says, I wish above all things that you would prosper, be in good health. John 10:10 says, I come that you may have life and have it more abundantly. 1 Thessalonians 4, and let's go there and then I'm done. 1 Thessalonians 4 chapter. Because I want you to see that heaven is not the end game. Everybody's not going to heaven. There's a believer. Because if it was, everybody had to go. First Thessalonians 4 chapter verse 14. For if we believe that Jesus died and rose again, even so God will bring with him those who sleep in Jesus. For this we say to you by the word of the who? Lord, that we who are alive and remain until the coming of the Lord will by no means precede those who are what? So that means that the ones who remain, they won't be going to heaven. Y'all have a fantastic day. Love you all. Thank you for inviting us into your home. If you desire to get an audio or video copy of the lesson you just heard, stay tuned, and the announcement will provide you with some important information on how to obtain one. Remember these verses from St. John, the 10th chapter and the 10th verse. I come that you might have life and have it more abundantly.
To obtain a copy of this program, please send the program number and payment to Abundant Living Faith Ministries, P.O. Box 15101, Tallahassee, Florida 32317.
Abundant Living Faith Ministries is a proud sponsor of the St. Jude Children's Hospital, a women's pregnancy center, and the Wounded Warrior Project.
Become an Abundant Living Faith Ministries faith partner. With any monthly contribution, faith partners will receive a monthly CD, a book once a year, and be included on the ALFM prayer list.
Abundant Living Faith Ministries is located at 4213 Woodville Highway on the corner of Woodville Highway and Flag Street, Tallahassee, Florida.
Floral arrangements by Artistic Floral and Design. For more information, please visit our website at alfmonline.org.
Thank you for watching the local ministries that we broadcast here on WHBR WVUP. If you are blessed by their programs, reach out and let them know. If you'd like to see your church on this channel, please let us know, and we'd be more than happy to reach out to your pastor. You can contact us at 850-473-8633 or email us at whbr@ctnonline.com.